dirt road. Oh, more dirt road. I thought we finally cut some pavement. I guess the road's really bad there. Yeah.
May 9th was the first time my wife and our infant daughter and our whole family got out on the lake since the quarantine and everything, and had a great day. Wanted to push it. Saturday, May 9th was the day. Wonderful. Wanted to push it, have another great day. So May 10th rolls around. We go back to the same spot, and there was 3-foot swells on the lake. Wind. There just wasn't a spot we were going to be able to do anything, except for one little spot I knew that would be calm. So we came to that spot, got here, and it wasn't great. It was good enough to go cook some hot dogs. The fishing and the boating wasn't great. So we just decided to pull up, cook the hot dogs, have a fire, try to catch a few fish, and go home. And there wasn't a real good spot. The first spot we'd been out at Saturday was a big open beach, main lake, beautiful. This was just a little spot on the shoreline, flat spot. And it wasn't really good. In fact, the girls stayed in the boat most of the time, and there was just enough room for maybe me to be there and build a fire. And so built a fire, was getting ready to cook the hot dogs on a stick, and heard some, what I thought were people, multiple people walking. And I thought that was odd because it was pretty remote. There were no hiking trails. There's a long road getting where we are that nobody was on. So I knew there weren't any people down here. So I just told the girls to watch out, keep an eye out, because I had my back turned. The ridge was up here and the fire was right here. So we cooked, ate some hot dogs, and my daughter Mira asked, what happened to those people? And I said, you're right. I don't hear them anymore. Let's just go ahead and get out of here. And we're getting ready to pack up, and she's in the boat. They're all in the boat. I'm up. Right as I'm about ready to push it off, we hear a knock, like we'd heard on these Bigfoot shows. And Mira heard it and said, well, who would do that? What was it, Dad? I said, oh, I don't know. They say Bigfoot does that. Well, I just looked down, and there was a stick and a tree. And so I just took a knock as I was pushing the boat off, and immediately from, I don't know, no more than 100 yards this way, we hear another knock. And they all were like, I'm still thinking it's kids messing with us or some people. So, but that made me curious enough to look. So I get in the boat. I'm going to go slow now instead of blasting back to the ramp. I'm going to kind of go around and look because there was a little cove. I just looked up there, and standing up there in a break in the trees in the sun was this. And I made eye contact with it, and I yelled an expletive. I'm holy, there's Bigfoot. And as soon as I did that, it went back in behind a tree. I couldn't tell if it was right up on the tree or just behind it a little bit, but it got behind a tree, and I'm trying to drive the boat, so I'm driving this way, and it's up here to my right, so I want my wife to see it. As I'm turning back towards it, I catch it out of the corner of my eye, just a blur, go this way. So now my back's to it, and they're yelling, where? I said, hold on. So I spin the boat around again, and as we're headed this way, it's coming across to where the original sound we heard was, and I got a great look at it. I saw it was hunched up. I saw the palm of its hand grab a tree and just pull itself over, and it's gone like lightning. It's the fastest thing I've ever seen in the woods. And we took a minute. We took a minute just to get my thoughts straight. And as we're drifting on down the bank, deciding what to do, I actually say, well, let's just go to the other side and fish. I wanted to catch fish that day. Let's just go to the other side and try to catch a fish. And I'm about ready to hit the motor, and the girls looked at each other, just startled, and said, did you hear that? I did not hear it. But they looked at, what did you hear? That was a growl. That was a growl, wasn't it? Get out of here. And my wife was dead set on, we're getting out of here. And they described it as a frustrated, deep, but also high. Just, it was guttural. They felt it, but it was high. They didn't think it was necessarily mean. It was just frustrated. They both used that term. So we left. And I've not looked at the woods the same ever since.
This sketch, can
Yes,
you
sir.
describe you drew this sketch. Can you describe the features of the creature?
Right, and this is what I saw, and so the neat thing was the hair. The hair changed color. There was one spot where the sunlight was coming through. I've got it highlighted on this little tree. This little tree at the crest of the ridge was a mark I've got, and the sun was really hitting, and it was brownish to reddish. And when the light was hitting it, the hair changed color, like natural hair would, and then it was darker as there was less light. And then it came this way later, and when it got down to where the sun wasn't, it got just what I would call a dark brown. That's what convinces me more than anything. That wasn't a suit. If that was a suit, I don't know how much money they paid to make that suit, because the hair changed color, reacted to the light naturally, like I've seen on all these grizzly bear shows. That's why it was like a bear. It was hair. That was a flat face. I saw the nose. The nose was big. The eyes were deep set. I could see some definition where there was a neck, but it was like a big NFL lineman. You could tell. And the thing that really was amazing was the width of the chest. I mean, at least 4 feet. I'm thinking the thing was at least 7 to 9 feet tall, and it was just massive. And I saw the muscle definition. I tried to put that a little in here. You could see the actual definition in the chest, the neck, the arms. Later on, when he reached his hand, I didn't draw it, but it was like a human. You could see, just like my definition here, you could see with the fur. So just massive. And
what color was the face?
It was darker. It was darker. I don't want to say it was necessarily black, like a gorilla. So, I've described it as gorilla-like as far as the texture, but more human, more like a dark, I'd say not quite black, darker brown, darker than the hair. I noticed the nose really stood out, like a deeper brown. And you could see you could tell that it was different than the strain. It wasn't just fur covered. There was a clearly defined. The lips weren't real huge. It was just, I didn't notice. The thing that stood out was the nose and how deep the eyes were. The lips, there weren't really giant lips or anything. I could see an area where there was a mouth, but man, just I remember the hand more. I got a good look at the hand when I saw him. I was driving the boat and had that instance where, am I really seeing this? And then saw it moving. But both times I was still steering the boat and trying to get them. When I had the boat pointed right and got a good focus, I'll never forget that hand. And again, the same kind of thing, darker palm, gorilla-like texture. You could see there was a palm there. It wasn't just a fur-covered thing. It was just amazing.
Perfect.
A few of these things now, of course, and there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of interest in this.
Oh yeah, we just came from a conference. There's
right.
A couple thousand people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's for all the site. How many do you guys think? For all the people that come forward with a sighting, what are there, 2, 3, 4 more that don't say a thing?
Exactly.
And I got to thinking. I told her one night I was coming home. This is years ago on the Western Kentucky Parkway. Late night from a date and had to use the bathroom right around Dawson Spring. Pulled over, nobody on the road. I was in a rental car. My Mustang was in the shop, and I had a Grand Marquis that looked like a police officer's car. And so I went over to the guardrail, between the guardrail and the car, and was using the bathroom, and something went, whoa! And I went over the car, got in the car, and left. And I thought maybe it was I don't know if I'm going to turn into the cryptid king right now. I saw a panther. There's been panthers here for years.
They say that.
Oh, there are. Yeah. So, and I saw one over in Marshall County years ago. So I'm thinking, that's just probably mountain lion laying up there. So I never thought Bigfoot. Right. But now I'm thinking, I don't know.
That's an odd sound for a panther too.
It was just like when they described guttural and deep, but a little higher than I can even do. When they described it, I thought, man, that's what I heard that night. It was probably just sitting up there watching or something. I don't know. See, we had put in back in the back of this, and again, the water was probably at least 2 feet higher than it is now. And we were going about this slow, and you can see a few white caps out there kind of breaking, and it was way worse than that. There was a defined line where it was white capping, but here it was relatively calm. Again, about like this. The wind was blowing a little more over the ridge than it is today. It feels like it's blowing in our face. So we're going to come right up here to the spot. We can pull in, we can do whatever you guys want to do. I venture to say our pile of rocks from our fire ring might still be there, because I know there's nobody going crazy to get to this spot.
Nice down here though.
Oh man, like I say, I've been coming here my whole life. Mainly fishing. I've never hunted anything, but we used to do a ton of hiking. I've done the north-south trail almost from the end where the canal is, almost back to the trade. So, you know, here comes a big boat like I was talking about. That's the only action this cove gets. So there's the tree. That tree that's sticking out, that's about in line with where we were, and I was trying to keep the boat out of the tree and the prop out of those rocks. It was up in here, man. I'm just curious to see.
Was it in this cove?
In this
like
cove,
little
right
cove?
up on this ridge. And I ended up drawing the slant on the tree there. You see that slanted tree?
Yeah.
That was my line of sight. And I'm just so curious as to where this is.
And
so we were oh yeah, our little fire ring is still right there. So we had the boat right there, and I mean, I don't mind pulling in there if y'all want to pull in. It's whatever y'all want to do. It's pretty rocky. You can see my pile of rocks and my fire still there.
so this is where your boat was anchored.
This is where, right up against that log, because it's so rocky. I didn't want to get anything on the prop.
And where did the first knock come from?
Right over here, over the ridge. Let me turn this and parallel this a little bit here, and then we can just.
Yeah, you could point to where the first knock came
So
from.
the first knock came from over this one. So you can see our rock pile. The boat was right in here, up against that angled wall. And then there's my rock pile. The boat, when I was pushing us off and tying us up, I was standing up on this rock and I knocked on that tree. It was a lot less foliage. It wasn't quite as thick. So I knocked on that little tree right there as I was pushing the boat off. And first knock was right over here. And then I showed you where we were. Going crazy. Second knock, and it was right around here. And so I thought, all right, somebody's just messing with us. And we were going about this slow. And I'm scanning, and you guys can kind of see the slope of the slope, and it crests just right up there a little bit. So I didn't think it was that far. And again, like all these rocks, you can see where the color is.
Right.
So where it changes from brown to gray, it was all the way up where these things that are brown now were underwater at that time. So we were a little, let's say a couple feet, and we came in here, and it was. You see where the sun's hitting that little tree?
Yep.
I mean, it is almost exactly right through there, and I got where this big long tree is angled this way. Right into, see this little sunspot where it's hitting the leaves right there?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's right where it was. And that little tree behind it, that's where it was. It was right there where that sunspot's hitting. I don't know if y'all can see it.
The sunspot
On the ground.
On the ground.
On the leaves. It was standing right there.
So you saw the second one.
I saw the second one.
Because
Yes.
the first knock was back
Correct.
here. The second knock was up here. When you
Correct.
came this way, you got to see the second.
And just like, I mean, I'm so glad we're here right now. The sunspot helped. I naturally gravitated towards that one spot. I'm trying to back this up and spin this. And then you can see, of course, how I kept losing it when I'm trying to drive, because you can see right now we're almost up on the street. But now right through here, that's where I saw its hand, right through here on these little trees, coming right up that ridge, right into where that next little sunspot on the ground is.
Inside the woods there.
Inside the woods there. So it had come that far, and I mean, it was just...
So it went through, from left to right.
And then the tops of the trees, that's when she saw the tops of the trees just... And you can see right now, even though it's windy, there's not a lot of wind affecting these trees anymore. And so when she looked, she could see that when it grabbed that one tree, I mean, it was...
moving.
Yeah, it was just... But it was all hung, it was just... His chest was about where your head is right now. You're standing exactly where he was. Sun was hitting him. See him right there?
Yeah, I could barely see him in these.
If you stand and look at his tree.
Right.
In that hole over his head. Hey, can you raise your hand up, Brent? Yes, right there.
All right, hold on. I think I see that.
Let me back up a little bit.
All right.
65.
Wave to us.
85.
Can you wave at us?
Wave at us.
Yep, right there. Yep.
Okay, I see you right there. There
Right
he
where
is.
he was. And about as tall, like I said, in that space his hand's taken up, that's where the thing's chest and head was.
Brent, keep waving.
Yep, right there.
He was right in there.
Yep, right in that hole. That's the hole. That's the shot. Right there.
And you said the creature was larger than him.
Yes. Oh yeah. Much wider. Much wider. It took up that whole hole. Wow. And he was 3 of you. Really? Definitely 2 of you. But and some when he came through here, because I think he was angled. What I saw, it looked like this, and I just saw that palm right in this hole coming behind that tree. And he was all hunched over, and he wasn't looking back. And then the next thing, I probably looked away and steered a minute, trying to get her, and I said, right there, and she said, where's that tree's moving? I said, yes, yes, yes. And that thing was just, and then it looked like this one right here might have been shaken also. It was right in here. Wouldn't you say, Mirabelle?
Yeah, there was a whole bunch shaking.
So he would have come right through here.
Okay, so my dad just said that we were about to go fishing on the other side, and as he was turning the boat around to go on the other side, me and my mom heard something, and we both looked at each other, and it was like a deep growl, but it was high pitched too, like at the same time. And we both looked at each other and both heard the same thing, and he didn't hear it because he was like driving in the motor, but we both heard it, and it was like, not like a dog growling, it was a little higher than that, but it wasn't necessarily mean. It was kind of like, just don't like come over here, you know, like stay away.
So for dinner tonight, we're making hot dogs for us and bacon to bring in a Bigfoot. The smell of bacon. Who does not love the smell of bacon? So we're going to cook that tonight after we eat these delicious. So we're cooking bacon. Who doesn't love the smell of bacon? Hopefully this will attract a Bigfoot. So we will try this. And then we will eat the bacon. Most likely. Hot dogs. So tonight we're putting out Swiss rolls and ho-hos to see what a Bigfoot prefers. Little Debbie or Hostess. The results in the morning. And I've got 2 microphones right here and right here. They're omnidirectional microphones hooked to this recorder, and we're going to turn it on. So it's now recording.
guys need to get some support, get ready for some jail time.
I don't know. There were some strange howls. Yeah, there's some strange howls in that for sure. I had my audio going here. I hope it was loud enough. So tell me, what did you hear? Second.
Knock.
And then we both heard the knock over here.
Well, yeah, I said the knock in the middle of it.
But the knock was a different location, right? Wasn't the knock?
Well, it was all from this general direction right here.
Oh, was it? I thought the coyotes and that strange howl was behind us. And the knock was over.
I thought it was all within this 45-degree arc right here. That's what I thought.
So we just heard some howls and a knock. But we are not going to reply right now. We're going to sit here by the fire because we don't want to scare them off or do something to jeopardize their curiosity. We want them to come in. We're cooking bacon. We're just talking. So hopefully it'll do it again here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You just heard a knock?
Mm-hmm.
So Brent just heard a knock. We're sitting here.
Same spot.
Same spot? So we're hearing a knock across the lake. We're by the bay. So we're gonna get the thermals out pretty soon here and therm across the bay. So we are therming across the bay where the Bigfoot sighting occurred.
I'm hearing something out in the water.
So explain what this is.
This is a 4-channel IR DVR. So basically, we'll put these cameras out, specific places that we want to do, and we'll hook this monitor up to it, and we can monitor all 4 channels simultaneously as it's recording.
Nice.
So
And what's going to power all this?
this is all being powered by the solar generator right here. So the generator basically is just a big battery.
Okay, so we're hooking cameras to the outside of the tent. This camera right here is facing the picnic table, which has food on it, and we're cooking bacon. So hopefully something comes up tonight to check out the food. So the second camera we have faced down the road towards the dumpster. So we are inside the tent, and these are the 2 cameras. One of them faces the picnic table, and one faces down the road towards a dumpster. Hey, what are you doing?
Nothing. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Listeners.
Are you eating the Bigfoot bait?
No. What are those ugly things?
Little flies. So we ate the Swiss Miss, and we're gonna leave the ho-hos. No. I'm taking a picture of this torn child's pajamas. The beast of LBL strikes again.